Welcome back to the show, and thank you so much for being a part of this particular conversations that we are having right here in studio. My name is Samuel Njoroge, and this is the only way to kickstart your morning. That is Good Morning Kenya. Now, days ago, we had the Cabinet Secretary in charge of education, that is Professor Magoha, talk about the 5th of October, this Monday, as the day when tertiary institutions and universities will be resuming learning. But the question begs, are we ready for this yet? Are we risking the COVID curve? And if so, how will the modalities look like moving forward? I've got the Vice Chancellor of the Southeastern Kenya University, that is Professor Geoffrey Muluvi, joining us by way of Zoom. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Good morning, Professor. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Samuel. Yes, I can hear you, Samuel.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. And I'll just pose the question to you. Are we ready to open our universities and tertiary institutions?
Yes, I can speak about the universities. I can say we are ready to open as directed by the minister. The minister gave directions that the 4 years reports from 5th of October and university senates were to meet and announce the dates when other students were to resume. And the university senates have been doing exactly that over the last few weeks, over the last few days.
And when you talk about us being ready, Professor, what gives you the confidence? What gives you the confidence to say that yes, we can actually resume learning?
For quite some time now, universities have been preparing to reopen. We had already been issued with the guidelines. The Ministry of Education issued COVID-19 requirements, which the universities were to meet before they open. We also have the guidelines from the Ministry of Health, which the universities have been implementing over the last few months. Specifically, we have made sure that we use thermoguns to monitor temperatures, not just for visitors and students entering the university compounds, but in all the buildings within the university. We have also made sure that water is available, running water is available at all entrances of buildings to ensure that students can wash their hands, and also availability of sanitizer across the university, in all the buildings, in the classrooms, in also of residence, so that the students can continuously sanitize when they are within the university. And we have also addressed the issue of social distancing in the classroom and also in the halls of residence.
I like the fact that you raised the element of social distancing, because that has been a concern. I mean, some lecture halls host thousands of students at a go. So how will social distancing be a reality? And the whole thing about being mobile and students moving to and from the lecture halls, to what extent does that actually present a risk? And you could be out there, a university student, and you'd like to be part and parcel of this conversation. Our online platform is open. Hashtag Good Morning Kenya at KBC Channel 1 at Sam W. Njoroge. Let us know whether you are convinced that you will be going back to class, and if so, how will you be employing the guidelines to ensure that we flatten the COVID-19 curve and you do not become a risk population when it comes to COVID-19. So the question that we are asking this morning is, are we ready to reopen our universities and tertiary institutions? Professor, thank you so much for being a part of the show this far. Kindly talk to us about social distancing and how that will be a reality, owing to the fact that some lecture halls can be accommodating thousands of students at a go.
Thank you, Samuel. Social distancing has not been easy, but we have been able to deal with it at the university. We have rearranged our classrooms to ensure that the distance between one desk or one chair to the other, or between one student to the other, is at least 1.5 meters. We have also done social distancing in the halls of residence to ensure that there is no bed or which is near another one. and there is a distance of 1.5 meters between, in case where we have cubicles which have 2 beds. So we have made sure that the social distancing is maintained in the classroom, in the halls of residence. We have also made sure that the students where they queue for services, they at least maintain 1.5 meter distance, and those are properly marked so that the students follow that. We have also put arrangements in place to ensure that we use electronic communications as much as possible, and the students only visit offices when it is absolutely necessary. So we are encouraging electronic communication and most of the questions and issues to be addressed online to minimize interactions. The online teaching will also continue in some cases in big classes where they cannot all of them sit at a go. So we will be able to do blended teaching, both physical teaching and also the online teaching will also continue in some cases. And I'm sure you have seen some universities also announce that. So that's what we have done to ensure that learning continues. And again, we have made sure that the issue of temperature monitoring is done across the university. You enter the university compound, the temperatures are taken. You enter all the university buildings, we have made sure there are thermoguns. In every building you enter, the temperatures are taken. And we have also made sure that the sanitizers are everywhere. Before you enter the buildings, inside the classrooms. And we have also made sure that, and we have also made it a requirement that students will be required to wear a mask all the time, properly wear the mask all the time, inside the classroom and outside the classroom.
Professor, let's talk about mobility. You know, the students coming to class and going from class now back home, and the risk factor that presents when it comes to transmission of COVID-19. How are you able to take care of that concern?
I think we have made sure that the guidelines were put in place, and we are also required to ensure they are followed by the students, because we have made it as part of the rules and the regulations governing student behavior within the university, is to ensure that the issue of social distance becomes a rule, that students should ensure all the time they are at least 1.5 meters from the other student. We have also made it a rule that wearing a mask within the university is mandatory. We have also made it a rule that washing your hands and sanitizing is also a new rule, which has been introduced across universities, to ensure that we minimize any form of contamination. And we have also activated the universities good enough. Most of them have health facilities, and our people have also been trained to make sure that they monitor closely the health of the students, so that in case of suspected case, then isolations can be done within the university. We have set a facility where the students can be isolated in the case we find there is a problem.
Probably, Prof, I would revisit the question I posed to you. Mobility. As students come to class and they go back home, how are you able to, you know, take care of the risk that mobility presents when it comes to the spread of COVID-19?
You see, within the university compound, we can manage. We are also requesting, like in our case at SEKU, we are requesting, because the greater number of the students stay within the university compound, so that one we can manage. We have also made sure that the vehicles which transport students from the nearby shopping center where they stay, they also respect the requirements which have been put in place for public transportation in some terms of social distancing. So we are engaging the transporters to ensure that when they are carrying the students, they also follow the health protocol which has been put in place by the Ministry of Transport to ensure that there is no infection when the students are commuting to the university.
What level of stakeholder engagement has gone into arriving at this decision?
There has been a lot of stakeholder engagement. We have been engaging the local community. We have been engaging the facilities where the students are accommodated outside the university. We have talked to them in terms of also making sure they meet the COVID-19 protocol which has been put in place by the Ministry of Health within the residencies where the students stay outside the university. And then we have also been able to engage the local transporters and also other people providing services to our students outside the campus to ensure that the health protocols are followed outside the university, within the neighboring community, and us at the university, we have also done our part.
Okay, what of the teaching and non-teaching staff? Have they been involved in this particular decision? Have they been consulted?
Yes, as the Senate, we have had many meetings within the university as a Senate to come up with the COVID-19 regulations which will govern the student behavior within the university. We have sensitized all our staff. We have also been sensitizing our students on the mechanisms we have put in place even now. Even when they are at home, we have been reaching them out and communicating with them the new requirements which we have put in place, which they will be expected to follow when they come to campus. So we have done a lot of engagement on that.
And what best practices have you been benchmarking on when it comes to arriving at this decision? Maybe you can share with us what some of them are.
I think I personally am lucky because I've attended most of the stakeholder discussions which the minister has been organizing at KICD, and the experts have been talking with us on how to contain the pandemic within the learning institutions. And I think we are taking the best practice on that. We are also looking what is happening elsewhere, and that's why as universities we have made sure that we digitize our curriculum, so that we have another alternative where it becomes necessary that we can shift to online teaching. We can be able to do that. That's one of the best innovations the universities have been able to do, so that they minimize the issue of social distancing. And we know that there are some which you can easily achieve, like the wearing of the masks. As a university, most of the universities, including our university SEKU, we have been able to manufacture very high quality sanitizers which have been approved by Kenyan Bureau of Standards. So the sanitizing within the university will be routine, and there is no limitation to that because we have adequate supplies of sanitizers. The issue of the mask is also not a big issue. Within our department of textiles, we have been able to make the 3-ply masks in mass. So we have been able to prepare accordingly.
We're going through the dailies, Professor, and experts now are warning that there could be a second wave of COVID-19 owing to the fact that Kenyans have thrown restrictions through the door, through the window, out. We are not taking care of ourselves at all. Is this in any way a consideration for you as a Vice-Chancellor, as experts continue saying that there could be a second wave of COVID-19 in the country?
As a Vice-Chancellor, my duty is to ensure that the COVID-19 requirements or regulations which have been put in place by the Ministry of Health are followed within the university to avoid what you are calling the second wave. We are confident that with the measures we put in place, it may not happen in our universities because we have fully complied. I think it will only happen where people ignore the regulations which have been put in place by the Ministry of Health. But in the cases where universities and other tertiary institutions follow those guidelines, strictly follow those guidelines, and make sure that the students also do the same, we are confident that that may not happen.
How do you intend to make up for lost time?
We will be able, I think now the focus at the moment is to ensure that we complete the semester which was not completed in terms of making sure the examinations are done. After that, as you recall that we closed in March, and the universities normally go for long session, that is between 15th April to the end of August. So we have lost basically the month of September, 1 month, and we will be able to recover that by organizing for extra hours, and we might be forced to extend the first semester. We might be forced to just the second semester first semester to continue until sometimes in May, so that we don't finish in 15th of April, but you can add 1 month which you have lost. But to us, we believe that you'll be able to recover the lost time. It's not a big problem.
Okay.
Because majority of students were to close between 15th of April and open in the beginning of September.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Geoffrey Muluvi. That is the Vice Chancellor, rather, for the Southeastern Kenya University, giving an assurance that yes, learning can resume with in universities and tertiary institutions.